So as Hillary continues her 2017 Woman Scorned tour, serious allegations continue to emerge about an overbearing, creepy Democratic leader who harasses women. But enough about her husband. Boom, boom. Today, it's Harvey Weinstein, who Hillary finally addresses.
I was just sick. I was shocked. I was appalled. It was something that was just intolerable in every way. And, you know, like so many people who have come forward and spoken out, this was a different side of a person who I and many others had known in the past.
Excellent software, but a little late, don't you think? Some are hammering her for waiting so long. But can you blame her? First, Harvey's a friend. I mean, wouldn't you have called him a friend?
Would you have called him a friend?
Yes, I probably would have. And so would so many others. You know, people in Democratic politics for a couple of decades appreciated his help and support.
Yes. He poured money into campaigns that offered him the ideal cover for his deplorable behavior. Every pig gets a pass when you're progressive. By the way, I love how Hillary says she'll donate the money she got from Harvey. That's just recirculating the cash. Why not just give the money back?
Would you give the money back?
Well, there's no one to give it back to. What other people are saying, what my former colleagues are saying, is they're going to donate it to charity. And of course I will do that.
She can't give the money back? Yes, you can. You write the check to Harvey Weinstein and you send it to him. I suspect she knows where to find him. I also suspect he'll need the money soon. Second, it's hard for Hillary to condemn a cad when she stood by one for so long. In a way, she's the personification of Hollywood. It's hard to speak out when you've tolerated such crap for decades. Remember the women who came out about Bill? They were dismissed by you-know-who. Hillary's not much different from those Hollywood A-listers who knew for years and traded sordid details like baseball cards. And that's the point. This was not Harvey's secret. This was Hollywood's secret. He was brazen about it. He never tried to hide it. He just assumed his politics and his power had him covered. And man, he was right. For a while. I have a theory, Jesse, and it might have been your theory, because I think I stole it from you, that if Hillary had been elected president, this story might not have broken because they would have been able to stop the New York Times from running it because he was a friend. Is that a crazy theory?
Well, if it was my theory, it's definitely crazy. That's also right.
Excellent. Self-awareness.
That's right. I think I got that covered. Listen, if she's so sick and appalled by this, why'd she wait a week to say anything? She also jumped the gun on, you said yesterday, the Vegas shooting right away. The Trump birth control order, she spoke out right away. The hurricanes, the Barcelona terror attack. The first day she came out with this. She wasn't shocked because to her, it wasn't a revelation. It was an open secret, and Hillary's all too familiar with open secrets. Also, why she didn't react right away, no reporters ask her. When there's a Republican scandal, every Republican in Congress has reporters outside their door asking. No one even knocked on her door. No one wants her to say anything because it's going to hurt the party. So you have Bill Clinton, you have Anthony Weiner, and now Harvey Weinstein, all of these really inappropriate men in Hillary's orbit. I almost feel sorry for her. And then I was thinking, how did she treat the women that were Bill's mistresses or victims of Bill's alleged sexual misconduct? She orchestrated smear campaigns. There was intimidation. There were settlements. So Hillary likes to say she wants to clean up Wall Street and police and regulate Wall Street. How about she tries to clean up and police Hollywood? Because the casting couch culture is criminal in Hollywood, and we can see this. There's this one guy, a dozen victims. There's probably 24 victims. This is running rampant there. If she's a real feminist and a real true icon who stands up for women's rights, you don't just move money around and send this check to Planned Parenthood or to Emily's List. You know what you do? You hold a summit. You set up a hotline. You talk to the victims. You give a major speech in Hollywood, and you try to correct the culture. She's not doing that, though, and she'd earn herself a lot of respect and a lot of credibility in the way that her husband did with the Sister Souljah moment, or, you know, Nixon goes to China. If she went to her own backyard and started actually standing up for women's rights, even I would say, Hillary, you're doing the right thing.
Jesse Waters, uber feminist. Hey, here's some tape.
Never been said before.
I know.
That's disturbing.
The first and last time you hear that.
Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Here's Harvey talking to some reporters. It's pretty interesting.
I'm not doing okay.
You're not?
I'm trying. I got to get help, guys. You know what? We all make mistakes. Second chance, I hope.
You know what I love, Dana?
Wow.
He uses lingo like second chance. It's like I think he is befuddled by all the attention because it had been accepted for so long. It's like, hey, wait a second. I'm Harvey. This is what Harvey did. I used to open the door with my bathrobe open. Don't you know that?
Well, and I find the whole all of a sudden he realizes he needs help.
Yes.
At a sexual addiction clinic to be like, oh really? Like all of a sudden, because he had a ploy in order to say, I'll dedicate all my time to the NRA,
yes,
hoping that would basically get him off this thing.
Thank you.
Help me. Oh, boy, Kimberly. Here's what I want to know. Are there criminal charges that could be fired?
Yeah,
Toss the ball over here.
The NYPD is investigating 2 cases,
Yes,
correct?
absolutely
And the Scotland
they are.
Yard is also looking at a case as well. Just thought I'd throw that fact in.
Yes,
Kimberly.
they are. One more
Oh.
question.
Has Harvey Weinstein ever contacted you?
You know, I was asked that today.
I think it's a pertinent question. I know his brother hit on a good friend of mine and was very disgusting.
Okay, so you have the story, not me. I'm sorry to hear that. Look, I think that he's trying to engender some public sympathy for himself because guess what? I do think that there are criminal prosecutions that are being looked at very seriously, especially given the number of alleged victims and people that have come forward to say not just horrific harassment, but sexual misconduct, sexual assault, or a sexual battery. So there's a variety of charges. Now, in a case like this, what I would do to try to preserve the secrecy of it, if I was a prosecutor, I would impanel a grand jury to listen to the evidence, to hear some witnesses go forward, and in a grand jury, the target of the grand jury, which in this case would be Mr. Weinstein, would be able to proffer evidence on his behalf that is exculpatory. Should he choose to do so, his counsel would be provided the opportunity to do that. So that's what I think some of the things and the discussions, behind the scenes that are going on right now. But it's not, just New York and Scotland Yard. It's also Los Angeles District Attorney's Office as well. So you see there's a number of jurisdictional issues, which I find to be legally fascinating.
Juan, Weinstein was one of the early supporters of Roman Polanski, and I'm sure he's thinking like you had Meryl Streep giving, a standing O to Roman Polanski. He is living in a lucid dream where all this stuff is somehow okay, and now he's waking up and he's realizing why are they turning on me?
Well, this is a really interesting point because we just saw him on video there waving at people as he's getting into that SUV. So there are 2 stories to tell about that. One is the police were called because of some kind of problem at his daughter's home. We know the wife has left him and apparently got into an argument with the daughter. And we don't know the details of it, but apparently the police, as I said, were called to the house.
Something about suicidal thoughts.
Well, we don't know that. We know that could be a spin in terms of trying to garner sympathy for him. But the second part of it that fascinated me, along the lines of what you were saying, is so he then turns to the paparazzi and says, hey, you guys, you know me.
Yes.
I've always been good to you guys.
Right.
As in, Democratic politicians, I've been giving you money. Or, hey, media, I helped you get access to some of these stars at key moments. And so that's the way I thought that's a revealing moment for Harvey Weinstein's mind, that he thinks, even with paparazzi who are getting in your face when the world is crumbling on you, that he can say, here's how I deal with you, here's how I make my appeal. But now let me just come back to your dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Which is to say, you know what, I think that this is about bad behavior by males who like sex generally across all party lines, but especially by politically powerful men or corporate powerful men or men with money. I think that this is the excess that they think they can get away, that it becomes their prerogative to do what they want to do. And if you have women who have ambitions, who are willing to come up to the hotel room, they think they can get away with it, and he got away with it, and it's criminal. But to make fun of Hillary Clinton, I just don't see it. By the way, Jesse, this is her personal, she has a problem with her husband, who crossed many lines, and so she has a personal issue. I think lots of women,
Including state lines.
were like saying, hey, you know what, what is that famous country music song, Stand By Your Man?
Well, ask Dana.
Dana.
All right.
Don't ask me.
Yeah.
Dana's our
So, I mean,
resident
you got
DJ.
it.
Right, so, but that's a personal issue, and I would stay away from it. Policy issues, gun control, you know, access to
But
birth
politics is
control.
personal
Right,
among
and Bob,
liberals.
I think-
Okay, wait,
yeah.
let me get this.
Go ahead.
Hollywood has spent most of their lives judging our behavior. We are immoral if our climate footprint is too large. If we voted for Trump, we're deplorable. They make politics personal. You saw Eminem, for example, basically say, if you're a fan of Trump, I don't want you listening to my music.
Right.
There are actors who say, if you voted for Trump, I don't want you watching my movies. They hold more hate for Trump than they do for ISIS.
No, wait a second. So what are you? I don't
I'm
get
saying
your
that-
point.
I'm
So
saying
what if
politics
they
is
say
personal.
we disagree? They're using their platform as celebrities in America's celebrity soap culture to say what they think.
Right.
And you don't like it because you're libertarian conservative, right?
Yes.
Okay, but I don't see that then says to us or to conservatives, oh, delight in the fact that Harvey Weinstein was a Democratic donor. I'd say, hey,
They delight.
what
Look
about?
what they did to Mitt Romney.
Oh.
Mitt Romney had a binder full of women. They demonized him.
I don't think they.
A
I think
Mormon.
They mocked him for saying he had a binder full of women.
all-
But
the only
what do
fun
you-
of his
but
verbiage.
what do you guys say then about Trump? Should everybody on the Republican side send their money back to Trump?
No,
Well-
the hypocrisy is, and this is to Hillary Clinton's point, when Bill was having some problems with a lot of different women, Hillary didn't believe any of them.
Correct.
They were all out for this, out for
Excuse me,
that, and
you know
she
what?
tried to smear them. But
Oh.
let me finish. But when all these women come forward with Harvey Weinstein, she believes she believes every single one of them, and Harvey's a bad guy. So, you know,
Excuse
either
me.
women are to be
Okay.
believed or they're not.
I
And
know-
the point
I
is that
know-
Hillary changed her story.
You're much younger and better looking than I am, but let me
Well,
just tell
thank you. You don't have to go any further.
But let me just tell you something.
But your earpiece is
People,
popped out.
women, let me just tell you, and you know, I say this with heart feelings. Women oftentimes defend their husbands and try to keep their families together and will go to extremes. That's a personal
Chapman
issue, Jesse.
did not. She left her husband immediately. And did
I
the
don't
other
know
thing.
I don't know
and
what's
listen,
going
every
on.
woman has her own
Check it out.
personal decision they're going to have to make. I'm just saying the way Hillary conducted herself changed depending on the
Well, she's
politics.
under tremendous pressure here because everybody was coming after her and it was being talked about on every show to
Sure.
say, listen, you got to call it out. And she took her time.
Yeah, and not
took
only
advantage
that, all of the late night comedians that you guys love to, you know, mock, they made so much fun of Bill Clinton. Oh my God.
Nothing about this guy
Nothing
yet.
about Harvey
Like, can I
yet.
just ask Dana this other thing? I'm convinced that we're hearing about the actresses who generally have more power than a lot of women in Hollywood. What about the PAs, the caterers,
Oh,
the
boy.
gaffers, the hair and makeup people who can't say anything because they will be fired?
Well, and they probably don't have the net worth that would allow
Yeah.
you to be able to walk away from a job.
Exactly.
I think that's actually the ongoing legal problems are going to be huge. I think the board members are going to have to answer for a lot of this because if it was such an open secret and the payoffs were happening 3 years ago and they knew about it, then it's possible that they too would be liable legally.
Yeah, all right. I'm banning open secret because it makes no sense. If it's an open secret, it's not a secret, is it? I don't know.
Lifetime ban?
A lifetime ban.